So I've already made the plain one colour border that we're going to have on our little potholder project. I've got 20 ends on here already in place. It should be 18, but to actually make 18 plus 1 for a floating selvage and then sort of start the whole operation and trying to count that, I just decided, you know what, let's do 20. It's not going to make any difference at all if I have an extra end. Nobody's going to notice that, and when we come to make up the potholders, in any event, it's going to get, it's going to become part of the seam allowance. So there's the last pass of my plain border. Now I'm just going to take my second colour and I'm tying it in a big loop as we would if we were just starting off a warp, and I'm going to hook that over the end peg. Now I'm going to take both of these colours together. Can you see I've got them separated over my index finger? Just move that along a little bit so you can see it better. And I'm holding, the rest of it is coming through from the palm of my hand. So where it's separated with the index finger, I'm going to take it over the first peg of the cross. Then I flip my hand up, take it over the second peg. My hand goes back to the normal position, and I proceed to follow the course of the warp all the way down to the bottom. As I move towards the bottom part of my warp, I come around the corner, around my end peg over here. I separate them out again, flip my hand over, take my hand over the second peg, take it around the end peg. There's my hand separating those two threads, flip your hand over, and there's your cross being formed on the bottom. I'm going to go back up to the top, just get that out of the way, and I'm going to show you that all over again. So I've come back up to the top of the warping frame. I'm going to go around that corner peg, into the cross, turn my hand over, around the end peg, and then back into the cross, turn my hand over, and then back to the normal position before I carry on. Now, the whole sort of, I suppose I could call it a trick. It's not really a trick, but the whole sequence of events here centers around the movement of your wrist. So going into the cross, whether you're coming from the corner peg or whether you're coming from the end peg, when you go into the cross, the palm of your hand is facing away from you. When you're in the cross, you turn the palm of your hand up to go over the second part of the cross, and then before you continue, your hand goes palm down again. It really is as simple as that. And as I say, it's a really good method for winding a warp in general. And it means that your warping time goes down to half, because you're winding now two threads at the same time. And it doesn't affect your cross at all, because your cross is still running 1 and 1. Now, if you have a look at what is happening here in the cross section, you will see that one side of the cross is going to continue to show grey, and the other side of the cross is going to show your contrast color. So learning to do it this way with a 2-color warp is actually a great way to do it, because it shows you exactly how your warp is moving around those pegs. And just for interest's sake, I find it really quite comfortable, actually, when I'm making a warp, to attach my warping frame to the back of the loom. So this is just the small warping frame. This is the little 4-meter warping frame, and it's on the back of my Ashford 40 centimeter. But even if you're using a big warping frame and you're working on one of the bigger looms, you will find a way where you can actually secure it, and it just puts it at a really nice comfortable working angle. So there you are, a little bit of a tip to help you get your warp up and ready for those pot holders that we're going to be making over the next few months. So there we go, my warp is done, and you can clearly see my two colours lining up beautifully there on the top cross, and if I move the camera down you can see a similar thing happening on the bottom cross too. What I do need to just show you on the top cross and on the bottom cross, between the second peg from the cross and the end peg, you will get what I call a secondary cross. I don't think that's the right term, but you will get a second little cross kind of developing between those two pegs, and that will happen at the beginning and the end of your warp. Ignore it. Just tie off your warp now in the normal way, secure the cross top and bottom, and secure your ends, and just ignore that little cross arrangement there. That's a result of using the two threads, and it's not going to impact on our warp at all. So now I'm quite excited now to get this guy off the warping frame and onto the loom so that I can start playing with my beautiful shadow weave.